welcome to Norwich. Norwich are in trouble. Why did you take this job?
It's a good question. A lot of people ask me that. I don't think 2 weeks ago I would have done it. It started with having contact, Ben with my agent about it, then the club sending some videos about infrastructure. And then we had, in the beginning of last week, our first talk. And I was in talk with a few teams, but it was a really good talk. I think it was 4 or 5 hours. We were there in the room with a lot of people who are working here in the club. And what I liked that everybody was really honest about the situation, what they needed. I could say also what I thought about it because I was looking then a few days towards all the games. So what were my ideas to improve things? And we were really aligned in that talk. And we kept on talking the days when the next days. And at the end we had also a long talk with the owners, what was also very important to see what the plans of the club are and what their plans are with the club. So at the end, I felt excited about this challenge and that I see that there's much more potential than the club is showing for the moment.
How confident are you that you can make an instant impact?
What do you mean by instant?
Norwich.
That's a good question.
Well, as in, can you make a difference straight away? I mean,
of course, there will be a difference. There's already a difference now. There will always be a difference if you come into a building, you have other ideas, you have another way of working. I see also already players picking up things. Does it mean that suddenly we're gonna play free-flowing football and destroy everybody? That's also not reality, and it's a job, it's a process, step by step that you need to build now to implement everything. For me, it's a challenge also to keep a balance by putting new things in every day, but not overloading also, that it gets confusing for the players. You need to also see that on the physical parts, we need to improve things, but you cannot do it in a few days. It's also work of weeks and months with some players. And yeah, there are several problems that need to be solved in the club and need to be made better. But you need time also to improve that. So yes, I'm sure that there's already impact there, and that's also what we're going to need the next couple of weeks. But it's like writing a book. We're writing now the first page or the first 2 pages of this book together, and the book is not full, so the players don't know everything yet, and they're also not fit yet in the way that I want to have them fit.
Recruitment-wise, from what you've seen, is the squad good enough? Are the players good enough to succeed?
I'm 4 days in the building, and I stepped in with a white page also for everybody. I want to see things, and I miss for the moment also 9 players. So speaking about the squad, when you miss 9 players, it's a part of the squad that I've seen. Some only 1-2 days, like the internationals. So I'm very convinced after what I saw in the games, and I saw all the games of this season, that this squad is not at the place it should be, but there's work to be done with them, for sure.
From the outside, many onlookers, including a significant proportion of fans, feel the club is in a bit of a mess right now. How do you see it, and what's it going to take to turn it around?
No, it's normal. Nobody is happy with where the team is for the moment in the league and the amount of points. Not the fans, not the players, not staff, not direction, not the owners. It's now about seeing this season also as a marathon, and that's the truth also. It's about where you end the season. It's now 30 plus games still to go, and it's now implementing everything as fast as possible, but in a realistic way, to implement it, to make the squad better and better, that it takes more and more points. That's the first goal now for the next weeks and the next months.
And last one from me to you, Philippe. The man sitting next to you is clearly going to be desperate. You do make an instant impact. I'm sure I'll buy you a drink, if not more if you do. Do you feel...
I'm not drinking that much, so don't have time for that.
But do you feel under pressure to succeed? Because I'm sure Ben, the man sitting next to you, is desperate for you to work.
Yeah, you don't know me, of course. There's nobody who can put me under more pressure than I put myself under pressure. Because what I want in football is to win every game. That's always been my mentality as a player and as a manager. So if that's not the case, then I make an analysis why we didn't win. So we go full for the 3 points in Birmingham. I know it's a big task because it's a good team with a lot of good qualities, and we need to make our team better and get used to everything that we ask of them, but we're going to go full for that.
Thank you. And a couple from me, Ben. Why have you put your faith in Philippe to succeed?
Hugely experienced, prominent coach. Honestly, when we first made initial contact, felt maybe it was a stretch target, if I'm completely honest. But when we knew that it became more and more of a possibility, it was clear for us that that was the direction that we wanted to move. Proven track record, taken over clubs mid-season, made good impact in a good period of time, worked with clubs of a similar strategy as well in terms of younger players, development players with big potential. I think of the work that he did in Belgium and particularly with Monaco, albeit on a different level, but it's the same type of task. So many things really, leadership, clear ideas, and of course as well the work that he's done on the physical side. That was a big strength. We spoke about that at length in the process. And again, he's been there and done it and taken over teams in this particular situation as well, where I think we are right now. So yeah, he was a natural choice for us.
So you see it as a good fit, short and long term, but certainly in the short term, it's got to work pretty fast, isn't it, to get Norwich away from the trouble you're in?
Yeah, although we've played less than a third of the season, so there's still a lot of games to play this year, a lot of football to be played. So of course, there needs to be an impact, but we're not sat here in February or March. There's still a lot of the season ahead. So yeah, we're sure that we can get there. It's not going to happen overnight, but we think that already with a lot of the things that we're putting in place and a lot of the conversations that we've had and things that we're going to focus on, we think that, yeah, certainly over the not too distant future, we can be in a completely different space.
Your role at the club in recent weeks and months has been heavily questioned and criticised. How much do you need this appointment to work for yourself?
Yeah, it's not about me for myself. It's about the club. My job here is not to protect my interests or to think about my situation. It's just to focus on trying to get the club to where we want it to get to. So that's always my concern. Of course, we're not where we need to be right now. Nobody feels that more than me. But yeah, it's not a situation that I kind of spend my time or energy thinking about from my perspective. I just work as hard as I can to try and get this club in a better position.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, lost my voice. Philippe Donovan from ITV Anglia here. Just a couple of questions for you. Firstly, how much of a help have you had from the staff already here in terms of preparing for this weekend?
Yeah, a lot of help, and that's also the story. Football has changed the last 10, 20 years. If I look back 20, 25 years ago, you had 3-4 people in staff, and in between trainings they were playing the cards because the world has changed. So there's always a lot of staff. That's also one of the challenging things when you come into a new club and you need to learn all the faces, all the roles, all the names. But everybody's been really engaged until now. What I expect also, and it's a little bit in the beginning, the honeymoon, when you're the first time together, so everybody wants to show the best of themselves, but it's about consistency also in that work. And I have high expectations of the staff. it's an evaluation of the team in a couple of months also. Who's strong enough to grow with the club, to go to a higher level, and it's with the staff in the same way, to look to improve things, to innovate things, and to make things better. But for now, I'm really pleased what I saw in the motivation of everybody in the building, for sure.
Yeah. And what would you see as signs of progress, say 10 games out? I know you can only go game by game, but let's say 10 games time. Where would you like to see signs of progress?
Let us speak in 10 games then. But I'm very sure the progress will be clear there already, but we will see how much progress it is. It has also to do with, look, it's a name of a list of 9 players who are not there yet, and they will not be here in the next 2 weeks for sure. So it's now also an opportunity of the guys who are here, who maybe had less chance to play before, to prove themselves and to raise their level towards that level that they can compete with others who come back, and that you get competition again in the squad. I think it's a major working point also, to get this competition again. Also with the amount of games that you have, that you can have a kind of rotation that you need during a season also.
Brilliant. All the best.
Thank you.
Philippe, good afternoon. Welcome to Norfolk. Paddy Davitt from the local Pinkham football brand. Interested, it's getting on for sort of 9 months since you left Rangers. Did you feel you needed that time, or I'm sure you had a lot of offers? You talked about some of the conversations, just didn't feel quite right.
It's maybe good to speak about that, yes, because I'm not somebody who opens up his private life, everything, but maybe that's one to explain. And people in Belgium know, but maybe people here not. So after Rangers, I took some time to have some time with the family, because it's been many years that I didn't take any time, and I didn't see them too much. So I had some trips with my wife, with the kids also. And then summer came, and then the plan was to start working again in the summer. But beginning of June, I started to have a lot of pain in my hip. I had a surgery 9 years ago. It's something to do with playing football before, probably. And so I tried a few weeks to go through the pain, but it was unbearable. So I went to a specialist beginning of July. He said I needed an operation and I could not go on like this. It would not become better. I could not even walk anymore for 500, 600 yards without pain. So I had an operation in August, a new hip. So I needed 3 months to have my rehab. So that was, half of October that it's done. And that I started talking with teams again. Along the way, there's been contact with people or teams coming, but I was not available. And if I go into a job, I didn't want to go into a job and say, okay, I cannot do it fully. If I engage myself, I engage myself fully, 100%, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, simple. So I needed that time. And because of that, it took a little bit more time.
Okay, understood. Thanks for that. You've already spoken today, this afternoon, about what excites you about this project. But you know how football works. You are coming in and taking over a club who are in the bottom 3 of the Championship. It was a no sense in your calculations at the risk to your reputation if you're not able to come in and turn this around?
Yes, of course. I know that. So it gives even more proof how much I believe that it can happen, and that I believe in the plans, short but also long term, of the people in the club and also the owners. That's why it was also very important for me to have a good talk with the owners about what the plans are with the club and how they see things and how they want to manage a club. They've been managing a club in another sport, I know, but they had 3 managers in 21 years. So that proves also something. They believe in the work of a process and making things better and checking things with data, looking at progress of players, individuals, next to the short-term results only. So we need to turn around, of course, results the next couple of months, but it's about the work we do every day with the players that's going to be crucial.
I mean, England, you clearly know from your time as a player, but coaching-wise, how big a challenge do you expect in the Championship? You know, it's always held up as the volume of games, the relentless schedule, the physicality. Have you been able to take soundings from anybody you know in the game in terms of what you're going into? Because it's one thing having an expectation, but to be actually in it and then experiencing it is very different.
Yes, but okay, amount of games. Look at all the years that I've been manager. It was almost all the time only the first club, not all teams that were playing European football. That were going also normally after January also with European football, with players playing national team and a lot of players. So we had now 4 guys going away. Normally it was between 12 and 18 players leaving the clubs. So those players play also the same amount of games. There's no difference in schedule. There's maybe even a difference with traveling, that you need to travel much further and you lose more time with flights and everything. About physicality, of course, I know the league. I followed the league a long time. I know players who played in the league. I know managers who manage the league, like Vincent Kompany, who I know really well. So, no, I know what this league is. I know it's a hard league. It's a very competitive league where things can change very fast, up and down. I think there was a team finishing 3rd last season who are now also in the bottom. So it's a tough competition, but those are the things I like. I like a challenge in life. So I'm really looking forward to this adventure together.
Obviously, Vincent Kompany had a fantastic experience with Burnley in this league. Have you spoken to him subsequently since the Norwich dialogue started?
I don't like to speak too much about all the talks I have with people, so those things are confidential.
Understood. How much are you aware of, or have been aware previously coming in, doing your research, and now you're in the building, about the mood around the club? You know?
Yeah, it's everybody's critical, and it's normal. Nobody, like I said, nobody's happy with where we are for the moment. I only ask one thing now. That's I demand from the players to give their life on the pitch. I hope that the fans recognize that the moment the players do it, and that they stand behind the players and that they can push them also in moments through the difficult times. So to get this synergy again between fans and players is going to be important, but it always starts first from the players, what they show on the pitch. So that's an important part of my job also.
And it's interesting you mentioned the word synergy between the fan base and obviously the club here, because many are now looking at you coming in, not only to get this team going on the pitch, but to be that unifying presence. Is that something, do you see it like that, and are you up for that challenge? It's
not the first time that happened, and Ben has said I've been in a few times coming into clubs during the season, so that means that the situation is not what the expectations were from the people inside the club. It's a very important point for me, and I've always been also a player and a coach who was really engaged with all the environment, everybody in the club and around the club, not only the players, also staff, fans. I come out of an era where we, as players, every week that we didn't have a European game, we went to a supporters' evening in Bruges, 10 years long. Every Monday, we went all over the country. It was spread all over the country. We went there every Monday. We had these talks also, because that's the thing that I said in the beginning. The people here in the club have been really open and honest also about all the difficulties. So it's easy to sell your club and to get a manager in and only say the good things and hide the difficulties. They've not done that. They've been really open. And I'm confident that all together, because I cannot do it alone, that's impossible, nobody can do it alone, but all together we can change the situation. And speaking about these fans, so going on this supporters evening every Monday, you get to know fans, you get to know their thoughts, and you get another view on things also, sometimes, than you have as a player. And that was really interesting, and it's something that's still very important for me.
you've already touched on again today, but also in a lot of the output the club have put out since you came in, improving the physical part of this squad. You know, Ben was very candid when he did his media midweek. He talked about the fitness of the squad isn't where it needs to be. The player injury management has got worse season on season. Now, there's a lot of Norwich fans will be hearing that, and that will alarm them. That you've got 15 games into a season, a group of players, and you said it in some of the footage that have been put out, second half, the performance levels drop. Clearly, that is one of the first priorities that you've got to address, and you have said that that is something you're going to do. But how can you materially change that 15 games in 3 months into a league season when you've got a relentless league schedule and a lot of the time between games is clean recovery? It seems a very difficult challenge you face.
That's true. It's a very difficult challenge, and it's about communication, working together a lot, looking individual at players, about their programs, what to do, what not to do. And we can have a long talk about that, and we did in those meetings also. It's something that happened in the past also in other clubs. So we have the data around that also, how we did it. I think it was also one of the points why the club was interested to doing it. So yeah, it's a difficult thing, and of course, it would be much nicer for me that if we had 6 weeks preparation, and I could implement everything, the way of playing, the way I use words on the pitch to certain things, tactically about formations, technically things, physically the work, mentally the work, because there's also a lot of work to be done, but it's not the case. So it was not in the past, it will not be now. So that's why I throw myself together with all this staff here together, and we had already a lot of meetings. I'm now 4 days in the building, but it feels already like 2 months. And I mean it in a very good way. So that's also a good signal that everybody is engaged. I feel everybody from every department is engaged to make things better. And it's about me challenging people, putting the questions, giving ideas, and like this making the story better. And not only picking out the first 11 for the game or who to change during halftime or during the game. There's a lot of more things to be done here. But I'm up to that.
First impressions of the squad in terms of the quality?
Like I said, white page to start. So making an evaluation after 4 days, that would be really not honest from my side. I would not like if somebody does it with me. So there will be players who are maybe overperforming now because there's a new manager. There will be players who are maybe nervous now because they're a new manager. I need to know them. I need to get to know them. For example, I gave them everybody a questionnaire yesterday. They filled it in. This evening I will go through it together with the staff also to get to know players much faster than normal. Normally you do in a training camp, you have individual talks with all the players. I always do 45 minutes, 1 hour with every player about all the working points, things to improve, things they're doing well, how their personal life is, how they can change things. We don't have time for that now. So I try with other tools to get as much as information that I can make the right decisions and that I can find also the key for every player to get the best out of them. I think that's a very important part in our job. It's not only about how they kick the ball, it's about all the things around also and how to get the best out of them, every individual.
You said when you address the players, look, it's a clean slate. It doesn't matter whether you're a young player or an old player, what you've done in the game, what you haven't done. You start from zero with me. So what are your non-negotiables to the players?
Non-negotiables, that they need to give their life every day on the pitch. So I need hard work. I need ambitious, hungry people who come every day in the building to become better. And they can make mistakes as long as the intentions are to do it good and that they improve and become better. But I've met many players in my career who made really good progression and who made really big steps into their career. There's one line with all these players that's the same. It's all hungry people who are ambitious, who are critical for themselves, but in a positive way. So positive, critical, every day coming into the building and becoming better. Maybe I can speak about what we talked about. When I came into Monaco, all the staff told me that between two midfielders, one was the best. And there were two guys with similar age. And everybody started there also with a clean sheet. And they were both good players in the training. But there was one of the two who was every day in my office to ask things about the training, about small details. Was the same player, was every day with the performance staff to ask things to become better. And he did that every day. Extra exercises after training, extra video sessions with the analyst, with me about every detail. And 6 months later, the club sold him to Real Madrid because he made a massive evolution. But it's hunger and desire. It needs to come from the staff, yes, but it needs to come out of the players also. And if it doesn't come enough out of the players, we will push. But the one who has it out of himself will be the one who makes the great career. And that's the big thing in football.
In your, I think your first club interview, you highlighted the volume of goals that have obviously been conceded. That's clearly a priority. But your style is to attack, to press, to be aggressive. But where you are now coming in, picking this up, do you almost have to prioritise maybe the out of possession to try and find that solidity rather than maybe working so much on the creativity and the attacking play? Yeah,
I think you're a little bit wanting to become an assistant coach here and to help a bit. Huh? But it's good. No, but it's interesting. It's a good question. No, it's a good question. No, it's totally true. That's my biggest challenge for the moment. I need to prioritize the right things. So there are many things in my head that we can improve. And it's about starting with the right things. So for sure, defensive organization and getting some defensive principles into the team is a priority. But I don't want that we're only focused on the defensive part and we don't know what to do the moment we have the ball. So we had to focus on the two things this week. Because you need to have a balance. I don't believe in only defending and then kicking a ball away and hoping something will happen. So we are implementing the first seeds in the group now of the philosophy we have to play. And I have to say that they respond well. We use the training sessions, we use video sessions, we ask questions. They're very engaged for the moment. So I'm also very curious, same as you, how this will result in what you do in the Birmingham game. So what I want to see is the things that we trained, that I see it back in the game. Will it be flawless, without mistakes? Probably not. But to see the things we've been working on, that we see it on the pitch also.
On recruitment, Ben said in that media round, you're looking to be active in January. Maybe there might be a focus at the top end of the pitch. How much of a say do you want in that?
Did you say that, yeah? Okay.
And not misquoting you there, but how much of a say do you want in that? And is that reassurances that you've had in terms of the dialogue with the owners? How much of a say you get in the recruitment process?
It's about working together, and that's also one of the reasons to be here, because like I said from the beginning, I felt the openness, the honesty, and that people want to work together, that there are no egos about themselves and their roles. The owners, I feel also that they're really engaged with the club, and it's not a short-term thing. We had that discussion also. It's a long-term thing, and they spoke out about the long term. So it's a massive and important thing, because you see clubs bought and be sold in a few years. These owners are not thinking in that way, so that was a massive thing also for my decision. And we will work well together with Ben, with the recruitment team. We've already been talking this week about ideas that we can have for the future with some players who can be interesting for the future for the club, and the recruitment team will look at them. it's about working together. Everybody only wants one thing, that's better result with Norwich. It's not about themselves, it's about teamwork.
And on that process, and I appreciate it's very early and you're still making assessments and you've got these injured players to come back in, but even now, are you looking at maybe profiles that are lacking in the group for your preferred style of play?
It's very difficult to say that after 4 days. Like I said, first can be that some of these profiles are in these players that are injured. Although I saw them in the games playing, I know also some of them because I wanted to get them to my old team also, some of them. We will see. You can also have really nice surprises with players you didn't know from before, even with young players who coming out of academy. So let's make an evaluation. In December we will do it and we will sit together and then to see what our targets are for January.
More of a kind of just focused on actually this weekend. I know we're talking about you coming in, but there's a very important 90 minutes tomorrow. What do you want to see from your team, given you've had a relatively short period of time to work with them on the training pitch and introduce yourself to them?
Like I said, the defensive principles we worked on, the offensive principles we worked on, the attitude, the never give up mentality. I think it's a major thing, not only in this situation, but in every club in the world. If you want to be successful, you cannot do anything about the things that happened before. So if you make a mistake, what is the reaction after the mistake? I've seen too many players needing 2, 3, 5 seconds, 10 seconds the last weeks. So that was a very important thing for this week also. I want fast reactions, that the team stays solid, that I want to see also a lot of communication between each other, to help each other, to make each other better, not 1-2 players talking, but all the team engaged. So, and a few other things, but I cannot say everything because my colleague in Birmingham likes to listen also to press conference probably.
Kenny McLean, he's had some week obviously with Scotland. 2 parts, you can actually maybe tap into some of that positivity and hope that infects the group, but also he has been the captain. I mean, will that remain the same? There's no change of captaincy there?
We start with a white page, but I think it's a clear one in this club now, in this situation, that he's the captain. If I see how he behaves in the group, all the things that I hear from staff also, there's no reason to change that, no.
And I don't know if that's on that bit of paper there, but obviously there has been a lot of players unavailable. Is there any updates you can give us in terms of availability for tomorrow? I don't know if you want me to throw some names at you and you tell me if they're available or not.
No, there are 9 players still unavailable, so I can say the names. That's Sliman, Cernak, I don't know if it's right. It's good, yeah, like this. Christine, Forsyth, Schlupp, Cordoba, Gibbs, Mahovo, and Papa Diallo. They're all still out. So.
You say Criseni there as well?
Yeah. Crisene, okay, that's good that you helped me with that one. So many names last couple of days, so. But, okay, I know him as a player, that's more important.
But that, as the last game, funny enough, and your predecessor, left back, maybe there's a slight issue there in terms of options who are available.
Yeah, but I don't like to be the guy who is the guy who looks to the half-empty glass. I want to be the guy who looks to the half-empty glass, to the half-full glass, and to see the player who plays in that position, that he plays a good game. So I believe in the players who will go on the pitch tomorrow and that they will do everything for the team. And like I said before, if you sometimes have injured players, you can have really nice surprises. I had one moment in my Bruce time, for example, my captain who was injured, and I put a young boy there in the midfield. That moment was Charles de Ketelaere. He was only 17 or 18, first in a cup game, and his second game was Champions League game against Paris Saint-Germain. And he did really well, and he kicked on from that. So let's hope we have a few guys of that also in the building.
Thanks for your time and good luck, wish you well. Ben, can I just throw a couple at you quickly, please? On the backroom team, again, in that midweek round, you sort of referenced Nick, Stanley and Ryan Gary, but where's Tony Roberts fit into that? Is he part of it moving forward?
It's possible that there could be some changes still. We're working through some things at the minute. So yeah, nothing concrete to say, but it could be that Tony might be one that moves on, yeah.
I mean, you were asked midweek about, there was a lot of noise from the Thomason camp, almost to the part that they thought they'd been offered the job. Just within what you can and can't say, could you clear that up for us?
Yeah, look, it's normal in these types of processes. Of course, you start with a long list. You start to filter down to a short list. You go into a process. The process gets to the latter stages, and of course, you're going to have more than one candidate in the latter stages. You have to protect yourself in case it's not viable to bring in your preferred choice. And Yondal was in the process. He was at the latter stages of the process. But yeah, at no point was the role formally offered. That was only offered formally to one person, and he's sat to my right now.
It's very final one, and you said this midweek again, words are cheap now. It's about action on the pitch, off the pitch, as a club, moving forward. I think I'm pretty safe in saying it's going to be a sellout tomorrow. You've got them 2 vital Carrow Road home games. The fans will turn up in their numbers. Is it just now, as you have done midweek, acknowledge there's a lot wrong now with this club? You've acknowledged that, you've owned that. But for the future now, get behind Philippe, get behind his staff, and let's try and drive it forward. That has to be the message to the fan base.
Yeah, 100%. The fans have been unbelievable all season, even in difficult moments, in some of the things that have gone on. I think they're quite within their rights. But as you said, it's a sellout tomorrow, 2,000 travelling, as they always do in numbers. And yeah, completely. We need to pull together now and focus on solutions and moving forward and climbing up the table. And that's exactly what everybody here in this building, on this facility, is trying to do. And of course, Philippe comes in with a great energy. His work ethic is unbelievable. He's a machine, to be honest, in that regard. And yeah, we're all just focused on moving forward.
You need to speak with my wife then. She will be happy with that.
And yeah, hopefully all together, because we're only going to do it if everyone is together. It can't happen, with a disconnection, and hopefully we can try to focus on what lies ahead, and we'll get there.